Hello, hello. This is CJ, and I'm joined by
Ace.
as always. And we are welcoming you again to an AA meeting where we're going to feed your addiction. This week, we finally got to the movie. We got to Rascal Does Not Dream of Dreaming Girl, and I have been looking forward to this because I wanted to see what Trey thought of the movie, and then the anime, and then basically together. So we're basically going to jump into it. But before we do that, always let us know what your thoughts are. Instagram, XAnimeAnonymousX, and then Twitter, it's XAnimeAnonymous. DM us, retweet us, whatever you want to do. Just let us know your thoughts on this anime, any animes that you want us to review, and if you don't agree with our opinion, shoot, go ahead. I mean, that's the whole reason we're doing this. We want to get people's feedback. So other than that, I'm actually going to let you start because I love this movie and this series. So First impressions, what did you think?
So, of the movie, first impressions, solid anime. Definitely was emotional. Emotional strings and heartstrings were pulled. I'm gonna have to spoil it because I don't.
Yeah, I was about to say. So this is like hot takes without spoiling. And then everything after this, spoilers. Right. So like I said on our Instagram post, if you have not watched the anime, stop, watch the anime, listen to our first episode, then watch this. Come back, join us, and now you're good to go. So this first 2 minutes is spoiler-free first impressions.
Okay. So for spoiler-free, heartstrings were, pulled, definitely emotional, solid anime. The speed of the show, or the speed from comparison to the show versus the movie, is definitely way faster. I definitely loved the pacing of the movie. It kind of brought me into the fold a little bit easier as well. So I enjoyed that. The connection, because it is a sequel, I think it was just flawless. Like I think we said last time, it's like that nice, tight, perfect bow at the end of it.
Yep.
I think that definitely hits it to the T. And I recommend the movie, even if you did not see the show. I think that it was such a solid anime movie that you would just enjoy it just straight off the movie alone.
I could agree with that.
But yeah, what do you think? That's my spoiler-free version.
Yeah, like I said, the first two minutes. So I can agree with that. I will say, as a standalone movie, it is a good movie. Like, for some people who may not have seen it, like there are some people who just watch anime movies, and this could have come out and they're like, oh, this is an interesting story. But watching the anime obviously gives you more of that background, right?
Of course, yeah.
But as a standalone movie, it's great. I love the music in different areas. You're going to hear it all the time. I talk about music, so I love the music. I love the little plays that it had in the different scenes. I agree. Like it's a really good movie, but there's emotional strings that are definitely pulled, and there's almost a comparison of selfishness and selflessness through this whole thing, and it pulls from the anime. Like the anime, that was another thing too. So I want to get into it. So spoiler free. It's a really great movie by itself, but then when you put the anime together with it, I just think it's top tier. So that's spoiler free. So now spoilers. That's it. All right, you've been warned. You can't fault us. So the movie starts off. Actually, so I rewatched it not too long ago again because I wanted to get some scenes in my head, and I didn't notice it until just then. So the beginning of the movie where she's walking across the beach, like it starts off with a girl walking across the beach, and at first I thought it was Shoko, but I actually think it's Mai. Because if you go all the way to the end, they're talking about a movie that she took. And the picture, the poster, is that exact scene.
So in the movie, she actually said, because they went on a date, and she said, I actually haven't been to this beach to relax, but I did shoot a movie.
Shoot a movie. Yeah. So I think,
didn't catch that. But.
So I didn't notice it, and like after we're done, I'll show it to you on the beginning entry. The scene of the girl walking across is the exact poster for the movie. And I'm like, oh, I like that. It's the beginning, end.
They definitely made it uniform. Or
it was a cycle, and one of the things that I think they did really well in this anime and anime movie is tackle time, like time travel and time theory. It was a little confusing at times, like if you didn't really like pay attention to what they were saying, because they mentioned like, no, this is the future, this isn't the present, but you're like, wait, no, it is the present. But they're like, it depends on who you're talking about. So if you're talking about Shoko in 3rd grade, then this is her future, even though it's your present. So the movie starts out with Shoko being in, I want to say like 3rd grade, or at least it's 3 years before the anime took place. And everybody's writing down what they want for their life plans.
Right.
And all the kids are like, I'm done. And she's staring at it, and she doesn't know what to write. And then it fast forwards, and we see our main characters, Mai and, oh God, why am I forgetting his name right now? I'm having a brain fart.
Talking about the main character?
Yeah. Why am I forgetting his name? Oh, this is horrible. Anyway, our main guy. I'm so bad. This is why I write them down, because I just brain farted. But we have Mai and main character kind of like talking, and he's flirting with her a little bit, talking about, oh, Christmas, and, you know, it'd be great if we have like a cake together. And she, being Mai, is like, oh, well, I don't know, I might have to work. And she was like, you should have Christmas with your sister. And he's like, what? With my sister? I want to do it with you. And so it was just, you know, jumping back into their interesting relationship that they have. And you kind of, what is
Sakuta.
it? Sakuta. Oh my gosh. I knew it started with an S, but for some reason I was just like, I can't remember this guy's name. So then she does kind of promise, like, yeah, you know what? I should be done filming at this time. We can hang out for Christmas. So he, obviously super happy about it, he goes and checks with the science girl. Her name is what? It's Futaba, right? Okay. And she's like, you look weird. You're smiling too much. What the heck's going on? She was like, did Mai step on you? And he was like, no, well, yes, she did, but that's not what I'm smiling. And
weird relationship.
They have a weird relationship.
It works,
but it's great. It's hilarious. So then we go to his house, and this is where it pops off. So Maya's there. She's like, oh yeah, I'm cooking for you, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, okay. And they hear the doorbell ring.
Playa.
And so he's like, oh, okay, let me go check it out. And he does he answers video. He goes, hello. And she goes, hi, Sakuta, it's me. And who is it? It's grown-up Shoko. And he goes, what are you doing here? And then Mai hears it in the kitchen, and she's like cutting a carrot or something. And she just goes, chop. Who is that? And he's like, it's Shoko. She goes, oh, what is she doing here? He's like, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm figuring out. So she goes, oh, well, let's go ask her. And she has a knife.
Right, I was about to say.
And Sakura's like, Mom, no, not the knife.
I'm like, she didn't put the knife down.
No,
oh, she's not.
My lady had a firm grip on the knife, bro. And I was dying laughing.
Repercussions will be made.
And then it just cuts to a scene. He's like sitting there. He like looks over to the left, and Shoko's like smiling at him. And then he looks at the right, and Mai's just death glaring both of them. And she was like, "What's the meaning of this?" Or no, she asked like, "How long are you staying?" or something like that. And she goes, "Forever if I can." She's like, "What? What do you mean forever?"
Yeah, May wasn't having that.
Yeah, May was like, she was like, "Well, I have nowhere to go." And she was like, "So you're just gonna just put Sakura out like that?" She was like, "Am I bothering you, Sakura?" He was like, "Well, no, but..." And then she was like, "See, so it's fine." And she was like, "No. You have to have somewhere to go." And she explains and she says, "Oh, well, sometimes I grow up into an adult, so my parents can't see me like this, so I have nowhere to go." So she's like, "I'm gonna crash with Sakura," and Mai's like, "F that. All right, I'm staying here too."
But before that, she said, "Oh, well, instead of you crashing here, you can crash at my place with my sister."
Yeah, that is what she said. I forgot
stay
about
over
that.
there. You're good.
And
she was like, "Nah,
no, I want to stay with Sakura." And then she just straight up with it. She's just like, "I'm really fond of Sakura." And Mai's like, "Wait, huh?
Right?
What?" And she was like, "Yeah, so I want to stay here."
This girl so bold. I was like, they're fighting. They have to.
Yeah. And
it's about to be Megalobox.
The funniest thing was the sister. The sister finishes eating. She backs up. She goes, "Thank you for the food," and locks her door.
Yeah, definitely. Like, she was like, "This is not where I want to be."
She's like, I ain't a part of this. It's gonna have to go down.
Y'all have to literally peep that and rewind it. She gets out of that room so smooth,
so quick. She's just like, "All right,
yep, food is done."
I'm out.
Oh man, that was smooth on her.
And then you kind of fast forward to the morning. He wakes up, and Mai's like, "Come on, you gotta go to school." He's like, "I can't wake up without my morning kiss." And Mai's like, "Okay, I guess I'm going to school by myself." And Shoko runs out. She's like,
I'll give you a kiss.
She's like, "I guess I'm in charge of the morning kisses."
And Maya is tight.
Maya's like, no, stop that. And Shoko's like, "What? Like, it's okay. I'm cool, with all of this." and oh my gosh, I forgot the funny part too. When Shoko first shows up, he goes and calls Futaba. And he calls her. He's like on the phone. He's like, "Futaba, I need help." She's like, "With what?"
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "Shoko's here." He's like, she goes, "So you're calling me to ask for advice on how to two-time?"
Right.
He's like, "No, Mai's there too." She's like, "Don't get me in the middle of a bloodbath."
Right. She was out.
Hangs up on him. And
I was like, she's a boss.
He's like, "Futaba?" She's like, I ain't touching that.
No, I was literally cracking up.
Yep.
That was literally the ideal reaction that I would have had.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
oh yeah.
Wait, what's happening? Oh yeah, don't put me in this.
I ain't doing that. And so then they go to school or whatever, and he goes to the hospital for his sister because it's his sister's checkup.
Oh right.
And he goes there, and he sees Mini Shoko, and she like drops it, and he goes, "Shoko?" And it flashes to his house, and the big Shoko's cleaning. She goes, "Oh, I wonder if he's met my little self now."
Oh,
and I was just like, "Well, that's weird."
Yeah, I'm like, how does she know?
Because I'm like,
I understand now that I see the movie,
but still, like, it didn't. That's where my brain started working because I'm like, well, that doesn't match what she said because
right.
She says I grow up sometimes. So I'm like,
she shouldn't be there.
So how are you saying? I wonder if he met my little self if you grow up. So he talks to Mini Shoko. She's adorable. I love that little girl. Like, she's so cute. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you about this, but I'm really sickly. And so I go to the hospital in and out a lot of times. So that's why I can't take the cat." And he was like, "Oh, your parents are strict." She was like, "No, it's the complete opposite. Because of my issue, they kind of just let me have everything, and I feel bad about it. Like, that they're just kind of giving me whatever." And he flips it, and he goes, "Do you love your parents?" And she was like, "Of course I love my parents." And he was like, "Have you told them that?" And she's like, "Oh, well, not really." And he was like, "Well, there you go. Like, they're trying to spoil you because they love you. Like, just let it happen. Like, let them spoil a little bit.
Right.
And she has like a little paradigm shift right there. And I thought that was a cute little scene. And then he we're not going to go over every single minute of the movie, but he and Mai go back to his room, and he's like, so when we were at the hospital and I was talking to the mini one, were you still here? And she kind of evades the question. She goes, well, who knows? Because nobody was here to observe me.
Right.
So,
I'm like, oh, she's annoying.
So she's
knows.
like, maybe I am like Schrodinger's Shoko, basically, because that's the thing, like, which again ties to the anime, because Futaba told him about that with the Schrodinger's cat or whatever. You put it in the box, is the cat in there? Well, you put it in there, but nobody's observing it, so you don't know until you open it. So she pulls on that, which references the anime, which I loved, and so they're like, okay. And she explains to them, she's like, I have a heart disease. And both of them are like, oh, really? She's like, yeah, I'm in and out of the hospital a lot because of it, etc. And she basically gives them the kind of rundown of that. And one other kind of part that I liked, which comes later, but like in the order, is he always goes to Futaba about, these questions, because he doesn't know science. Like, he's like, what's going on? And Futaba's like, if she's saying this, that she grows up sometimes, and there's the mini one, what happens to the quote-unquote years between mini her and technically college her?
Right.
She was like, if I'm right, she's hiding something from you.
It's hiding something big.
Yeah.
Which we find out.
Yeah, which we do find out. But him being like, again, the selfless guy that he is, he's like, well, I'm not really going to put her out like that. Like, if she wants to tell me, she'll tell me. But another thing that I like about him is he's not an idiot main character, which I said that in the anime. Like, he puts things together pretty quickly. So, like, when he...
well, he kind of has to, because Maya ain't playing that.
Well, yeah, but, like, so, like, for instance, when when Shoko calls him, and she's like, hey, we're going on a date, he goes, I don't think Maya's gonna like that.
Right,
She's like, no, me and you going on a date is gonna help Maya as well, because what they found out earlier was her plan that was referenced at the beginning of the movie, the life plan for Shoko, it starts basically writing itself. Like,
so I didn't think that was writing itself. I thought that was... I'm spoiling it now. So the future, the future Shoko, I think she went back in time and filled out what the current little Shoko wanted. I think she did it, and then once they went back in time and they kind of checked off everything on the list, I think that's when it finally got erased.
So, yes and no. So they actually explain it. So the whole reason that there's a ship, there's an old Shoko and a young Shoko, Futaba actually explains it. Young Shoko, because she's sick, she wants basically time to stop. Right. She doesn't want to grow old because she knows that she's going to die soon. Right. So because of that, she thinks about being an adult and being in high school and all this stuff so much that she made a second version of herself, which is who he met on the beach in the anime.
Okay, so
that's why whenever he went to that school, because that's the school that she went to, she's basically a personification of what she wanted. She never wrote it down, actually, but it was everything that she wanted in her head. That's why he never saw her on the class rosters. They never had somebody for that, because at that time, she didn't exist. So she is the puberty syndrome, but it's a little bit deeper than that.
Right, okay.
Because,
that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why she brings it. She's like, yeah, this is writing itself. Like, And Mai makes a joke about it because one of the life plans was like, meet my boyfriend, which she actually says this stuff. That's why you know it's in her mind. So like whenever he goes and visits her, she goes, oh, I would like to meet my, go to high school, then I'd go to college and maybe meet my boyfriend in college and live together and then get married. He's like, wow, get married in college? She was like, yeah, my parents did that. Well, if you look at the life plan, it says go to school, go to college, meet my boyfriend / future husband. So Mai makes a joke about it. She goes, so you gonna marry Shoko? And he's like eating a fruit and he almost chokes. He's like, yo, whoa, you can't just do that. She's like, well, you're the boy of promise in the paper. And so when she was saying all that stuff, because he was actually thinking of the paper, like when Shoko's listing out all young mini Shoko's listing out, he's like, crap, like, do I have no other choice but to marry her? Like, because at the end of the day, he wants her to live and he wants her to have a life because he really cares about her.
Now, so let's fast forward a little bit to her actually kind of like checking off the bucket list. Mm-hmm. So one of the situations besides the date was she wanted to get married.
Yep.
And the date happened to be, it was so weird. The date happened to be at a location that needed to be a tour. Mm-hmm. And then the tour ends up being a dress rehearsal for a wedding.
Yeah, it's like a little mini chapel.
And then she actually gets in the wedding dress ready.
But that's the thing. He told her she should.
I don't approve of that either.
No, he was like, no, you should try it on. And then she was like, no, I don't need to. He's like, no, you should. She was like, oh, okay.
She knew what she was doing. It was a setup from the beginning.
She puts it on, and he's like, dang, like, you look good. So they walk up, and he sees her scar.
Right. And that was pivotal. Yeah, that was key.
Yeah, that's where he starts putting things together, and he's like, she's like, oh, yeah, it's like, she said something like maybe it's ugly or whatever. And he goes, no, like, a sigh of relief. That means she gets her heart transplant. Like, and I'm happy about that. And
she survives, yep.
Yeah. And she goes, yeah, on December 24th or whatever, I get a transplant or whatever, something like that. And he's like, so he's
Remember just, December 24th.
Yeah, so he's just super relieved. And then basically at the end of the movie, Shoko gives him like
an ultimatum.
End of the date. I think I might have said end of the movie. End of the date. She gives him an ultimatum like on December 24th, I'm going to be at this place at 6 p.m. and I want you to come watch the lights with me. And he was like, well, at that time, she was like, I know. Like, but what he was going to say was at that time he has a date with Mai. Mm-hmm. She was like, so you're going to have to choose between me or Mai. And she was like, don't say anything. She's like, I'll be waiting.
Now, in my head, when I first heard this choice, I'm like, you better pick Mai. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So, and that comes up later on. So let's just fast forward a little bit. So he goes to Mini Shoko, and she heard news that she's not getting better. So she puts on a hard front, and she's like, I don't want you to come see me anymore. He goes, nope. And she's like, why? Like, he's like, I will come see you every single day until you get better.
Unless he has to work.
Yeah, unless I have to work. And so she starts crying, and he's like, you know, you did it, you gave it your best shot, you tried it. And it's an emotional scene because she's like, I really want to live. Like, she's been putting on this thing like, she's fine, but she's like, I really want to live. Like, I want to do this stuff. I want to.
And those key words that he gave her, saying that you gave it your all, you gave it your best, was the same words that she gave him back in the anime. Yep. And then it circles back again towards the end.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Like, when you start literally piecing the commentary together and then the events.
Which he referenced that. He references that when at the end of the date, he's like, why do you like me so much? He was like, I have obvious reasons to like you, but why do you like me? And
She keeps it.
She was like, you
came to the
saved
hospital every
me.
single day.
Yeah, she was like, you came and saw me every single day. You did this, you did that. She was like, the love I have for you, no one else can get. And he basically ends it by saying, like, you saved me. And she ends it. She was like, no, you have no idea. Like, you saved me. But he doesn't hear that.
Yeah,
She
and
says
that's
that.
key. Oh, man. It's so
then,
dots.
fast forward back to the convo we're having. He has it with Mini Shoko. She's happy. And then, boom, she gets, like, a heart attack. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Shoko. And so, like, the people, they get a crash cart. They're running her down. And he's trying to follow her. And his chest starts hurting, which totally forgot about this, but basically Mai had come to check on him one time, and he took off his shirt because I think he had like a fever or something. She was like, oh, your wound's open. Are you okay? He goes, yeah, it opened up whenever Shoko shows back up. She was like, does it hurt? He was like, no. So she was like, I guess this is part of your puberty syndrome. He's like, yeah. So now come back to quote-unquote present time, we got him chasing down the crash cart of Shoko, and starts bleeding. He's stumbling, and he falls down, and he goes, wait a minute. Am I? And he passes out.
And that's when the pieces come
and he
together.
Put it together. And so he wakes up. Big Shoko's there. She's like, disguised, because people can't see old her and young her. That'll be a time distortion. So he wakes up and he says, my heart, I'm the donor. And she is shocked. She didn't think he would put it together. She goes, yeah, your heart is beating in me. She's like, you actually saved me. And
then he's trying to figure out how.
Yeah, so he's like, what happened? And she goes, on the December 24th, you're going to yada, 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 and you get hit by a truck. And you become my donor. And boom, right then, Mai walks in because she heard that he collapsed. And she goes, what did you just say?
And she is not having it.
No, not having it at all. And she doesn't freak out or anything because Mai's not an emotional character.
Yeah, she's very emotional.
So she listens to it. And she goes, and then so Shoko gives them the whole thing. Like he got hit. He was pronounced brain dead. And they used his heart and donated it to her because he had a donor card on him, which you saw him pick up earlier in the movie. So then she tells him, she's like, please just have a quiet Christmas at home. Don't go out. I'll take care of this. I'll figure it out. So, Sakura.
Sakura is not listening to that.
If you've watched the anime, you know him. And here's where you get the fight and balance of selflessness versus selfish. And so he starts basically, every time he's meeting with people, he's basically kind of saying goodbye to them. Mm-hmm. And Mai is not having it. Mai starts hanging up on him like when he calls. Because she knows he's going to mention something about it. And then finally, December 23rd happens or whatever. And they go out. And they're on a train. Again, reference to the anime. They're on a train. He goes, where are we going? And she doesn't answer. And then she looks at the train and says basically exactly what he said in the anime. Which train gets us furthest?
Right.
And he goes, why? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, whichever one gets us the furthest, we can stay in a different area. We can stay in a one room together. He was like, that'd be nice. That's a dream.
And I think that symbolizes the beginning part of the anime. Mm-hmm. Because that's what Sakura was trying to resolve the phenomenon. I think I'm saying
when she was being forgotten. Yeah. So they were trying to get as far away.
Like, man, when I tell you this anime and the movie, they just go hand in hand so well. Just pay attention. Keep going.
So then basically she breaks down. She was like, he says, you need to stop acting like that. She was like, you need to stop acting like. She's like, why are you acting like you don't care? Right. She was like, what do I mean to you? And he was like, she's like, what am I to you? He's like, girlfriend. She was like, basically, he was like, I love you to death. He was like, I'll always love you. And she's like, you're lying. And she was like, even if you hate me, just stay with me. until December 24th is done. And then she's like, I'm lying too. Like, I never would want you to hate me. And
heartstrings.
She's crying, and he comes back home, and Shoko's there waiting for him. And he's just like, I can't do it. Like, Shoko, I can't. Like, I'd never wanted to make Mai cry like that. Like, I'm sorry. I can't do it. And she basically tells him it too. She's like, you gave it your best. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I should have handled this better. So then you fast forward to 24th. And so he's walking to go see the jellyfish. That's what he and Mai decided to do. Mm-hmm. And then it clicks in his mind. He goes, crap, why did she tell me she's going to be waiting there at 6 o'clock? Because she knew I would never go there. Because the whole reason, so Futaba said it, the reason he has his puberty syndrome is 2 of his hearts exist and they shouldn't. So what Shoko, he pieces together, what Shoko was going to do is she was going to sacrifice her old self, like big Shoko, to then have her heart go in there, right?
Oh.
So he's like, you idiot, like that's not going to work because you can't, like they're the same person. He's like, please let me get there in time. Please let me get there in time. And he's running and he, like a truck, like slides and he looking at it. He goes, like he recognizes it. He's like, oh, this is where I die. Yeah. And he sees Shoko like on the other side. She screams his name and he smiles. And he's like, and then you hear Mai yell his name.
Well, actually,
I
thought he got hit first.
Nope. Nope. So he looks like it's like slow motion. Truck's coming at him. He sees Shoko. He smiles. He's like, all right, cool. Like, she's not going to sacrifice herself. And right before he gets hit, Mai runs in and pushes him. And you just hear, boom. And then he gets up. He's like, ow. And he looks. And Mai's
just
basically
bleeding
dead.
in the streets.
Like, her head's bleeding. She's sitting there. And he's like, no.
Devastated.
Like,
yeah,
no way.
Oof.
And then he looks to where Shoko was. And she's not there. And he just is broken. He's like, I couldn't save anyone. Because in his head, he's like, I didn't die, so Shoko's dead. And now Mai died to save me. Like, he's like, I couldn't do anything.
And that scene,
it was rough.
Him just like discombobulated.
Yeah,
just
like there's
head just furred. I'm like,
yeah, he's walking.
I know you
like,
feel this stress.
He's just walking out of it. He walks home. His friends come and pick him up.
He's just a zombie, like
yeah,
just sitting in between the door, like just in a trance. And
then so like, you know, Futaba comes and gets him. He's watching the news and stuff, and the news says it. Like there's an interview that popped up where like the interviewer, and it happened in the anime, and the Mai's like, well, this is kind of new to me. I've never done this. And then the interviewer's like, yeah, but you have to have that boy around your finger. She's like, well, you know, I have the upper hand, but she was like, my love for him is stronger than his for me. And that hits him. Like, he turns off the TV.
Because that hurts,
yeah. And he starts walking, and he's just begging. He's like, anybody, just save Mai, please. And he goes to the beach, and he's crying. And she was like, and then you hear a voice say, what are you doing here, basically? Like, that's basically what she says. And he looks up, and he goes, Shoko, like, how are you alive? She's like, yeah, they didn't publicize it, but Mai became my heart donor. So she was like, there's no one to save Mai except you. You're the one who needs to save her. So she kind of explains it to him, you know, like the way that she basically went back in time. She was like, this isn't the present. This is the future. She was like, there was a time where you denied your future. And he thinks about it when he says, I want to live, and he tells Shoko, I can't do it. She was like, see, now you're getting it. She was like, that is the present. Go back to the present. She basically drugs him, and she's like, good, it's working. Because she was like, you can't do it if you're thinking clearly. She was like, so go back there, go save her. Long story short, he goes back in time. He puts on this, he said, I'm going to be like Mai. He puts on this bunny suit.
I'm like, I was literally like,
Yep.
This is amazing.
Yep. And he puts on a bunny suit, and they rope in the butt girl again, because I never remember her name, but she's the only one who can see him, because nobody can see him. But she can, because she said she had a bad dream the night before that he was at the train yard or train station yelling and nobody could see him. And that's why she showed up. And now because she confirmed his existence, he now exists.
Yeah.
So, which is basically Sakuta confirmed Shoko in the anime on the beach.
Yep.
So it's just all playing together. So then he calls my sister. She gets him to go to Mai's, and she's like, Christmas present to me, or from me to you, to Mai. And Mai sees a bunny outfit. She goes, okay, you guys can leave us. And just walks in. She's like, so is that why you came from the future? To just stare at me? And he goes, like,
oh, rip, she already knew.
Like, she already pieced it together, and she takes off the helmet, or the top of the mask, and he's crying. He was like, you really are Mai. She was like, and she just smiled. She's like, good, I was able to save you. And he was like, you mean you planned this? And she was like, I told you, I love you more than you think I do. And it was just, man, it was just like, so he was being quote unquote selfish by being selfless. Mm-hmm. And then Mai was just complete selflessness. So it's just dichotomy of those two words, and it's so good. And so she's like, all right, well, I have to go save you right now. He's like, no, it's like, stay here with me. And she's like, no, if I stay here, you're going to die. Because what you don't realize, he called himself and told himself, like, well, not what you don't realize, what we didn't mention. He called himself and told him, don't do it. And he goes, like, his past self is like, are you even me? Like, He was like, if I don't do it, Shoko's going to die. Because he had just seen her, like, on a ventilator and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, he was emotionally, he was like, if you were me, like, you would know I have to do this. And he goes, no, like, don't do it. And he was like, yeah, I can't deal with you. You're psycho. Like, the past one says the future one, you're psycho. And future him's like, I just don't get it. So he goes, and she's like, I have to save him. He was like, just trust me. I will take care of it. She's like, are you sure? He was like, I promise you, though, I'm going to probably be a mess. Like, I need you to hold me after. And so she's like, all right, I'll be there. Like, I'll trust you. Fast forward, bus is about, or he actually walks with Shoko for a little bit. They have, like, their little thing. And she's like, you're going to forget about me. She goes, no, I'll never will, because you're my bittersweet, like, first love. And that was, like, the ending thing for him and her. He goes, truck's about to hit him, and future self pushes him out of the way. And right when future dies, they merge. And he goes to Mai, and he cries, blah, 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 and that happens. So then they kind of fast forward after the new year, and they're like, she, like, I think she was still struggling. Shoko was still struggling, and he went to go see her because the mom called him. She was like, I don't think she has much time. He goes to talk to her. She's like, I had this wonderful dream. I was doing this, and this. He was like, no, that really happened. Like, that really happened. She goes, I know it. It did. But she's like, I see that I'm giving you much grief, so, like, I'm going to change it so that you never met me. And he was like, no, like, I'm going to do it. Like, Maya and I already talked about it. I'm going to go back in time and fix this, and then she and I will meet again. And she was like, she passes out, and he and Mai basically fall asleep, like, outside, just kind of waiting on her. And you just see the whole anime flash, and it goes from the end of the anime basically to the front, and it goes back in time to Shoko being there, and she finishes her plan. Mm-hmm. She's like, done, like all the other kids. And then it fast forwards again to present day. He and Mai are together, they're talking, and he, like, one of his things is, like, he just has some reasoning for always wanting to give money to people. And Mai makes a joke. They're walking towards the beach because he said he wanted to go to the beach. And she was like, oh, you want to go to the beach because that girl you always see, like, and he was like, I just see her in my dreams, like it's not real. And she mentioned, like Ace said earlier, that she never came to the beach to relax, but she was there for her movie. And he goes like, what made you want to do that? She was like, I don't know, but when I saw the story of it, of a girl who has a heart disease and is on a waiting list to live, I had to do it. And because they have the memories technically, but they don't know, they just think it's dreams or impressions. So they're about to walk onto the beach, and you see these two parents are like, hey, calm down, relax. And you hear this girl, like, she's playing, she's having the fun time. And you're like, wait a minute, is that her? And then, so Sakuta looks, and Mai's like, someone you know? He looks, and he goes, no. And then he walks, and he hears the waves crash. And then, boom, all of it plays in his head. Back. Yep. And that, like, the last part always gets me, man. He looks and he goes, Makahiro, or whatever her last name is. And she, like, freezes, turns around, starts crying, and then smiles. And she's like, yes, Sakuta. And it ends. I'm just like, oh, that's so great.
Yeah, it was a great ending. Yeah, definitely heartstrings were pulled the entire time. Like, every event was just kept you on the edge of your seat. I think it was a quality movie. So let's do a quick rating.
Oh, yeah. We go. All right, so rating of the movie by itself.
By itself, I'm going to have to give it a 10. It was a 10. Because even if you didn't see the anime, the way they pieced it together, it made you feel like you saw the anime.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 10.
I agree with you. Oh, like, again, like we said at the beginning, like, it as a standalone, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And when you add it with the anime, like, it's just, it's amazing. Like, that's, my joke has always been about this series with the movie, is that with the series is a 9, movie's a 10, and both of them together is a 15.
Yeah, easily.
Like, I think it's perfect. It's a perfect bow at the end of it. And I think anybody who watches this, you're going to love it. If you, for some reason, totally disagree with us,
please,
that's totally fine.
Please comment in it.
I mean, I'm going to question you. I'm just kidding. Just shoot it.
I may question you. I'm like, where's your heart at?
Just, well, present time might be in somebody else's body.
It may be, because I'm going to be confused. If someone literally comments and says that they do not like this movie, I'm questioning everything about you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an emotional person, and even this gets me. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, or if you want to talk about this movie or any other animes or anime movies, just let us know. Again, at Anime Anonymous X at Instagram, Anime Anonymous on Twitter. I'm still working on the Discord, but for those of you who are into the crypto side, Ace did get it up on
Audius. So if you type in Anime Anonymous on Audius, you'll be able to listen and earn some crypto as you listen to the podcast. So it's a win for both of us. So check us out on Audius.
Yeah, so, if you want to listen, earn some crypto, like, hit it up there. But as always, we will catch you next week. We are, you know what? I think we should do, just kind of change it up since we did emotional. We'll do Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Okay. I think that'll be a good little mix-up. Still a good one. It's action, anime. But until then, I've been CJ.
And this is Ace.
And we'll catch you next AA meeting.
Peace.